Okay, so our four-step process for working on comprehension at home. So these are things to do in order. Try to keep them simple. Like I said, I know a lot of parents speak English as a second language, or you are just all living very busy lives and juggling a lot. So try to keep it simple. So first off, picking up the tricky vocabulary, like I said before. So pre-read the text, identify the difficult words, discuss them with your child, get them to write down the definitions before they go through the passage. Then as they're doing the passage, if you can, or you don't have to read together every time, but if you can do this fairly regularly at home, then I think that would be really helpful for a lot of children, especially early on in the 11+ process. So read the text together, get your child to read aloud. They may be happier if you read a little bit as well to give them a break, which is fine. So read the text together and stop regularly as you read to recap. We try when we're working with students to not to stop in the middle of the paragraph unless it's a really lengthy paragraph, just because you don't want to ruin the flow of the passage and really get in the way of the story. But maybe at the end of 1 or 2 paragraphs, you can pause, go through them, get your child to summarize what they've learned so far from what they've read, see if they can put things in their own words. That's a skill that for 11+ exams where they require written answers, children will quite often be asked to say how are they feeling in your own words. So having that discussion is going to help with that kind of question. And explore the vocab. There's just a little image that this reminded me of. So Simon Simpson saying, every time I learn something new, it pushes some old stuff out of my brain. And we've definitely seen that with a lot of children. When we do the vocabulary before the passage, sometimes we discuss it in depth, they have a good understanding of it. And then 5 minutes later, when they come across that word in the passage, they have forgotten what they learnt about the word. So the new information has pushed the old one out. So even if you have discussed the vocabulary before diving into the text, do come back to it because there's a good chance that your child has forgotten it. And then finally, so simple questions. Again, for anyone that's not confident in their own English, these are questions that you can ask your child about comprehension passages and also about any books that they're reading. So ask where, when, and who. So those are simple deduction questions. Those are kind of the easy questions that they might get in the exam. So just which characters are in the passage, how are they related to each other? And then more advanced questions are like why. So why do you think that character did that? Why do you think they've gone there? And what will happen next? So they're having to draw on their knowledge of the story so far and then draw their own inferences, which are great for comprehension questions. Once you have discussed the passage at home, then ask your child to complete the questions independently if possible, just so they can get used to doing that on their own. For children that are reluctant to sit down, reluctant to do English, or reluctant to write, then you can go over the questions orally. If you do that every now and again, it is not going to hurt. The point is that you're building the English skills that your child needs, but you might want to just give them a break from writing. So either you write the questions or you discuss them and you maybe tick them off in the book after you've discussed them. For children that are having any difficulty with the questions, model looking for evidence in the passage. Most children don't realize that they are supposed to do that. So if they ask you for clarification on something, then say, I'm not sure, let's have a look. Let me check whether my memory serves me correctly, just so they know that you too are looking to the passage and you're not just memorizing all of the information in one go. And finally, overlaps slightly with the previous point, but guide your child towards the evidence. So if your child has undertaken the questions independently and they have corrections to do, then just give them a little hint as to which part of the passage you could use to find that information. So saying, oh, well, it was at the beginning that they spoke about X, Y, Z, so why don't you look in that first paragraph? Or they mentioned that at the end, so why don't you look in that section? Okay, just checking questions. Thank you, Manasi. The Week Junior apparently is very good for magazines